After Sony recently announced that they were going to be winding down the production of physical releases of their video games, and it enraged pretty much everybody in the gaming space, you would like to think that the company would be a little more careful not to step on anyone else's toes, but here we are. It was announced that the Crunchyroll store was going to be moving to members only, and you had to have one of the 2 higher tiers in order to shop there, so even if you were paying for the 3rd cheapest tier, you wouldn't be able to buy anything. I think people are really starting to see a problem with companies getting as big as they are, buying up all of these smaller companies in the process, and then trying to exclude certain groups of people from being able to enjoy the kind of content that they like. And this is far from the first time that people have had problems with Crunchyroll and the way that they do business. Not that long ago, a few voice actors from some of their English dubs announced that they would no longer be working with Crunchyroll after the company tried to enforce clauses in their contracts that weren't there. I don't know how they could have even tried to enforce the idea that they control which projects some voice actors do and don't get to work on when the voice actors' lawyers themselves reviewed the contracts and said, no, they don't have that power. And why don't we bring up something more recent, like the fact that they pulled Black Lagoon from the streaming service right after its 20th anniversary. Now, if you want to watch this F-bomb-filled, action-packed classic, you're going to have to track down one of the physical releases, which is going to be easier said than done. And this is just another one in the long list of titles that has now been lost like this. When it becomes harder to legally buy an official release for any form of media, from manga to movies, then people are going to start resorting to piracy to get their hands on it, which is extremely ironic in Crunchyroll's case because they originally started out as an illegal piracy website. That is correct. The company that has grown into this monopoly over the English anime industry originally started out streaming anime without legal permission. You know what's funny about this is that English dub anime voice actors would rail all the time against piracy, and they would tell everyone that if you support piracy, you will be contributing to the death of the anime industry. Well, it looks like they were right, only not in the way that they expected. It still blows my mind that when Sony acquired Crunchyroll and Funimation, that it wasn't Funimation that ended up sticking around. You would think that the studio that dubbed Dragon Ball Z and Yu Yu Hakusho and Attack on Titan, along with obtaining the licenses to Cowboy Bebop and Outlaw Star and Speed Racer, would be the studio that stood tall in the end, but nope, it was Crunchyroll. Sure, Funimation wasn't perfect. Remember when they licensed interspecies reviewers and dubbed 3 whole episodes of it before pulling it from their service entirely and announcing that it just didn't fit their standards? And don't even get me started on Crunchyroll's destruction of Right Stuff. That has to be one of the biggest losses the anime industry has suffered ever. Right Stuff had a little bit of everything for everybody who liked anime, including a few exclusive things that you could only order from them. Here's a good one for you. Remember when Crunchyroll announced that they were going to be moving One Piece behind a paywall so you couldn't watch it free anymore? Yeah, I'm sure that'll win people over right away. Take something that was previously free to watch and make people pay for it now. That's always a winning strategy. And what modern crock of corporate crap wouldn't be complete these days without mentioning that the president of Crunchyroll is super into AI and wants to use it for their scripts and subtitles. Please understand that none of the suits at these companies actually cares about any of the products or services that they put out. They just want to make money. And the strategy is very obvious if you pay attention to the video game industry. They're going to lock all the anime behind a paywall and get rid of as many physical releases as possible so that you have no choice but to pay for their service. And just like we saw with Black Lagoon, just because a show is on the service doesn't mean it's going to be there forever. And if it does get pulled and there's nowhere else to watch it, then that show is just gone. And I honestly do believe that when Crunchyroll went legit and provided people a way to watch stuff for free and still support their favorite creators, it helped the industry as a whole grow. But then over the years, as English dub anime companies started shutting down one by one with the loss of Geneon, Bandai Entertainment, and eventually the likes of Funimation, we started to see the industry really shift to a dark place. But when a company gets too big, that's when you start seeing problems for everyone, and that's exactly what happened when Crunchyroll absorbed Right Stuff and Funimation. I remember a lot of English dub voice actors voicing a lot of concerns about the future of the industry when Funimation and Crunchyroll merged, but a lot of them still tried to stay very positive about the outcome. I know they were just trying to keep people from panicking, but the days of the Funimation save releases and offering people free shows to watch so they can still support the platform of their choice are long gone. But what do you guys think? How do you feel about the entire situation with the anime industry and Crunchyroll? Do you trust Sony with control of 90% of the entire anime industry? Thanks for watching this video, I really appreciate it. If you want to support my channel, then be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Now, I'm a little bummed out, so I want to go watch something that will really make me laugh. You think a silent voice might be funny?